On a quiet December weekend in Los Angeles, one of Hollywood's most respected families was torn apart by violence. Acclaimed filmmaker Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle were found dead inside their Brentwood home. Within hours, investigators identified their own son as the sole suspect. Nick Reiner, previously known to the public for struggles with addiction and mental health, was suddenly at the center of a double homicide investigation that shocked both the entertainment industry and the public. The violence was deeply personal, the timeline was narrow, and the questions were immediate. What happened inside the Reiner home that night, and why? This is not a mystery focused on who committed the crime. It is an attempt to understand the cause. And the most likely answers lie at the intersection of mental illness, long-standing emotional strain, and a final catastrophic breaking point. The final weekend of Rob and Michelle Reiner's lives began with what was meant to be a simple holiday celebration. On Saturday, December 13, 2025, the couple attended a party hosted by Conan O'Brien, accompanied by their 32-year-old son, Nick. For most of the evening, the gathering unfolded like any other high-profile Los Angeles event. Then something shifted. Several guests later reported witnessing a tense interaction between Rob and Nick. Others denied that any argument occurred. What was consistent, however, was how Nick's behavior was described. Guests said he appeared disorganized and erratic, approaching strangers to ask whether they were famous and making several people uncomfortable. Shortly after, the family left the party early and returned to their Brentwood home. In the early hours of Sunday, December 14th, Rob and Michelle Reiner were killed. Authorities believe the attack occurred in their bedroom. Both victims died from multiple stab wounds. While the precise time of death has not been released, investigators believe it happened while the couple was preparing for bed or already asleep. At approximately 4 a.m., Nick checked into the Pierside Hotel in Santa Monica using his real name. Hotel staff later described signs of blood in the room, including in the shower and on the mattress, though police have not publicly confirmed those details. Surveillance footage reportedly showed Nick arriving alone. Later that afternoon at 3:30 p.m., the Reiner's daughter Romy went to the house after their massage therapist was unable to reach her parents. Inside, she discovered her father's body and immediately called 911. Responding officers found both Rob and Michelle deceased. With Nick unaccounted for and last known to be at the home, police named him the primary suspect. That evening, around 9:15 p.m., Nick was arrested near the University of Southern California after being identified on surveillance footage at a gas station in South Los Angeles. Police stated that he surrendered calmly and without resistance. Nick was booked on suspicion of murder early on December 15. Detectives searched both the Brentwood residence and the hotel room, collecting potential evidence. By the next day, news of the deaths had spread nationally, though authorities initially withheld details pending formal charges. On December 16, the Los Angeles County District Attorney charged Nick Reiner with 2 counts of first-degree murder, citing special circumstances for multiple victims and use of a deadly weapon. His initial court appearance was postponed after defense attorneys said he had not been medically cleared. When Nick later appeared in court, he was wearing a suicide prevention smock. His attorney, Alan Jackson, stated that the case involved very complex and serious issues, widely interpreted as a reference to Nick's mental condition. Autopsies confirmed that Rob and Michelle Reiner died from multiple sharp force injuries. Their bodies were released to the family on December 19. Friends and colleagues, including Billy Crystal, Larry David, and Meg Ryan, paid tribute both privately and publicly. By December 21, reports emerged that Nick had previously been prescribed medication for schizophrenia. Whether he was taking that medication at the time of the killings remains unknown. Investigators stated that no other suspects were being pursued, and prosecutors acknowledged that a specific motive had not been identified. As the investigation progressed, the central question shifted from identity to motive.
The prosecution's position is straightforward. Nick acted alone. There was no forced entry, no evidence of an outside intruder, and no indication of robbery. Nick was the only person unaccounted for during the critical time frame. The legal case does not depend on motive, only on the alleged act itself. Another explanation centers on a severe mental health crisis. Witnesses at the party described Nick as confused, paranoid, and socially disconnected. Such behavior aligns with symptoms of psychosis. Abrupt discontinuation of antipsychotic medication is known to increase the risk of delusions and impaired judgment. In such a state, loved ones can be perceived as threats, and ordinary conflict can feel overwhelming. Some speculation has focused on possible substance use given Nick's history with addiction. While drugs could have intensified existing instability, no toxicology results have been released, and substance use is not necessary to explain the events. Other theories, financial motive, inheritance, or alternate perpetrators, have largely been dismissed. California law prevents anyone convicted of murder from inheriting from their victims. There is no evidence of financial disputes, no missing valuables, and no signs of third-party involvement. When speculation is set aside and the known facts are examined together, the picture that emerges is tragic but not complex. This was not a burglary. It was not a targeted attack related to Rob Reiner's career. It was not a conspiracy. The violence occurred in the most private space of the home and was carried out with a readily available weapon. Everything points inward. Nick's behavior at the party was not merely awkward or intoxicated. Witnesses described it as disorganized and paranoid, behavior consistent with someone losing touch with reality. If a confrontation occurred, what may have been parental concern could have been perceived by Nick as humiliation or control. What followed appears to have been a rapid emotional collapse rather than a carefully planned crime. First-degree murder does not require long-term planning, only the formation of intent. In moments of severe psychological distress, that intent can form quickly. The nature of the injuries, multiple stab wounds to both victims, suggests sustained violence driven by intense emotion rather than panic or self-defense. Such acts are often fueled by fear, rage, or delusion. After the killings, Nick did not seek help. Instead, he fled, checked into a hotel, and attempted to distance himself from the scene. These actions indicate partial awareness rather than total detachment. Severe mental illness does not eliminate all understanding. Individuals often move between clarity and confusion. Nick's calm surrender and subsequent placement in a suicide prevention SMOC further support the presence of a profound mental health crisis. Perhaps the most devastating aspect of this case is that Rob and Michelle Reiner were not neglectful or abusive parents. Friends described them as deeply involved, exhausted, but unwavering in their efforts to help their son. They restructured their lives around treatment, medication, and support. That closeness, born from love, also created vulnerability. In their public statement, Nick's siblings asked for compassion and restraint, acknowledging the complexity of the tragedy. Their words suggest an understanding that their brother is not a villain, but a deeply unwell person whose illness collided with irreversible consequences. The most plausible explanation, supported by available evidence, is this: Nick Reiner suffered a severe psychological breakdown and killed his parents during a moment of acute instability. He fled in fear and confusion, was located within hours, and taken into custody without resistance. This conclusion does not excuse the violence, it does not diminish the loss, but it places the tragedy where it belongs, not in mystery, but in the harsh reality of untreated or inadequately treated mental illness. In the end, the deaths of Rob and Michelle Reiner are not a puzzle awaiting revelation. They are a warning about limits, the limits of love, of intervention, and of foresight. The hardest truth is often the simplest. A profoundly sick son destroyed the people who tried hardest to save him.